It's through praise, likes, or the approval of those around us. The desire for validation can entrap us in a cycle that stifles our growth and impedes our freedom. The Stoics were clear on this issue. True freedom arises when you no longer seek the approval of others to define your worth. This is not about dismissing the value of feedback or healthy relationships, but about no longer being dependent on others' opinions for your sense of self. In today's world, social media has exacerbated this desire for validation. We're constantly bombarded with images of what success, happiness, and beauty look like, leading us to question our own lives. Seeking validation from others creates an external locus of control. You're allowing other people to dictate how you feel about yourself. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, warned against this. He said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When you stop seeking validation, you give yourself permission to be who you truly are, regardless of how others perceive you. Your actions, your choices, your achievements, none of them need to be validated by anyone but you. When you let go of this constant craving for approval, you gain autonomy over your life and your decisions, freeing yourself from the shackles of comparison, insecurity, and external judgment. One of the greatest obstacles to freedom is the fear of failure. Many people live their lives in constant avoidance of failure, afraid that if they fall short, they'll be judged, ridiculed, or deemed unworthy. The Stoics, however, believe that failure is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. They understood that failure is an integral part of the human experience and an essential teacher on the path to personal growth. Seneca, a leading Stoic philosopher, often spoke of the benefits of adversity, stating that it is only through hardship that we build strength and resilience. Fear of failure leads to inaction, to living in a perpetual state of anxiety, never truly moving forward. The key to true freedom, according to the Stoics, is to see failure not as an end, but as a beginning, a chance to learn, grow, and improve. This mindset shift is powerful because it removes the shame that often accompanies failure. Instead of viewing mistakes as a reflection of our worth, we begin to see them as opportunities for growth. By failing and getting back up, we develop the resilience to face future challenges without hesitation or fear. The Stoic approach is to embrace the risk of failure, knowing that our freedom lies not in avoiding failure, but in learning how to respond to it with grace, patience, and wisdom. True freedom is found in the present moment. Yet, how many of us spend our time ruminating over the past or worrying about the future? The past is filled with regrets, missed opportunities, and unresolved emotions, while the future is clouded with uncertainty and anxiety. Both can trap us in mental prisons, preventing us from experiencing the fullness of life in the here and now. The Stoics taught that the past and future are beyond our control. What we can control is how we respond to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, frequently reminded himself that the present is all we have. He understood that dwelling on what cannot be changed or anticipating what may never come only saps our energy and peace of mind. The key to freedom, according to the Stoics, is to live fully in the present, embracing each moment with awareness and intention. When we stop living in the past or the future, we reclaim our mental space and emotional energy. We free ourselves from the constant mental chatter and anxiety that comes from worrying about things beyond our control. We can focus on what truly matters, how we show up today, how we treat others, and how we pursue our goals. This mindset shift not only enhances our sense of inner peace, but it also allows us to live with purpose and clarity, knowing that today is the only moment we can fully experience and shape. The Stoics understood that true freedom is not about external circumstances, it's about mastering the internal world. By applying these 7 Stoic principles, stopping the need for approval, embracing responsibility, ceasing to complain, letting go of comparison, eliminating the need for validation, overcoming the fear of failure, and living in the present moment, you can begin to break free from the mental and emotional chains that bind you. True freedom is not the absence of challenges or responsibilities. Instead, it is the ability to respond to life's ups and downs with equanimity and resilience, choosing how we engage with the world from a place of inner strength and wisdom. The Stoics remind us that freedom begins within, and by adopting these principles, we can cultivate a life that is not determined by the opinions of others, by past regrets, or by future anxieties, but by our own choices and actions. In the end, the Stoics believe that the path to true freedom is not an easy one, but it is the most rewarding. It requires discipline, self awareness, and a willingness to face difficult truths. But the payoff is a life of peace, purpose, and profound inner freedom. By following these Stoic rules, you can break free from the internal prison you've built for yourself and live a life that is truly your own. In a world where societal expectations, peer pressure, and the desire for approval dominate much of our lives, many of us are conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to the opinions of others. Whether it's the approval of family, friends, colleagues, or society at large, we are often led to believe that our success and happiness depend on how well we conform to external expectations. However, the ancient Stoics, philosophers like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca, taught that true freedom is found within, independent of the judgments or approval of others. They argued that the key to personal fulfillment lies in liberating oneself from the constant pursuit of external validation, embracing change, and letting go of negative emotions such as resentment and grudges. In this exploration of Stoic principles, We will dive into 7 crucial steps that can help you break free from self-imposed limitations, leading you toward a life of inner peace, clarity, and authentic freedom. One of the most pervasive sources of stress and unhappiness in our lives is the constant quest for approval. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek validation from those around us. We want our parents to be proud, our friends to admire us, and our colleagues to acknowledge our efforts. While there is nothing inherently wrong with receiving positive feedback, the danger lies in when we begin to define our worth based on external approval. This is exactly what the Stoics warned against. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." At first, this might sound harsh, even unkind, but it carries profound wisdom. When we constantly seek the approval of others, we become slaves to their perceptions, losing sight of our own values and self-worth. Every decision, every action, and even our identity starts to revolve around what others expect of us. We begin to shape our lives according to their judgments, rather than following our own internal compass. I struggled with this myself for many years. I constantly wondered what others thought of my choices, whether I was good enough in their eyes. It wasn't until I embraced the Stoic mindset that I realized how much power I had been giving away by seeking validation, by aligning myself with the expectations of others. I wasn't truly living. I was merely existing to fulfill a role that others had prescribed for me. To achieve true freedom, we must cultivate self-reliance and inner confidence. The only approval that truly matters is your own. When you make decisions based on your values, you live authentically. Whether others praise you or criticize you, you remain grounded in your own truth. This is the essence of Stoicism, living a life that is true to yourself, not shaped by the whims of society or the opinions of others. Your worth is not defined by what others think of you, but by how aligned you are with your own principles. Fear of change is another major barrier to personal freedom. As humans, we crave stability, familiarity, and comfort. Change can be unsettling, and it often brings with it a sense of uncertainty. But the Stoics understood that change is the only constant in life. To resist it is to resist the natural flow of existence, leading to frustration and suffering. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change." In other words, life is in a constant state of flux, and the more we fight against this reality, the more we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. When we fear change, we limit our potential. We cling to relationships, jobs, or situations that no longer serve us, simply because the thought of the unknown is too terrifying. We resist change because it pushes us out of our comfort zone, and the familiar feels safer, even if it no longer aligns with our goals or desires. But in doing so, we prevent ourselves from growing and evolving. We become trapped in a state of stagnation, unable to move forward. I experienced this firsthand when I stayed in a job that drained my energy because I was afraid of the uncertainty that came with leaving. I stayed in relationships that no longer brought me joy because the comfort of the familiar seemed safer than venturing into the unknown. It wasn't until I embraced the Stoic philosophy of accepting change that I realized how much I had been holding myself back. Stoicism teaches us that change is not something to fear, but to embrace. Change is an essential part of life, and by welcoming it, we open ourselves to growth, new experiences, and the possibility of becoming the best version of ourselves. When you stop fearing change, you begin to see it as an opportunity rather than a threat. The uncertainty of the future becomes less daunting when you understand that you have the strength to navigate it. Change is inevitable, and by accepting it, you free yourself from the paralyzing fear of the unknown. Another significant way we limit our freedom is by holding onto grudges. When someone wrongs us, it is natural to feel hurt, angry, or resentful. But when these negative emotions linger, they can begin to poison our peace of mind. The Stoics taught that holding on to grudges only harms us, trapping us in a cycle of bitterness that robs us of our freedom. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, holding on to resentment only keeps us emotionally bound to the person who wronged us. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The person who wronged you may have moved on with their life, while you remain trapped in your own anger and bitterness. I know this from personal experience. I carried a grudge for years against someone who had deeply hurt me. Initially, I thought I was protecting myself by refusing to forgive, but in reality, I was the one who was suffering. The anger consumed me, clouded my judgment, and stole my peace. It wasn't until I embraced the Stoic practice of letting go of grudges that I experienced true liberation. Forgiveness didn't mean excusing bad behavior or allowing the person to hurt me again. It meant freeing myself from the emotional weight of resentment. By letting go of grudges, you reclaim your mental clarity and emotional freedom. You no longer allow others to control your emotions or dictate your happiness. Instead, you live in the present moment, free from the toxic hold of the past. When you forgive, you regain your power, and your peace of mind becomes your own responsibility, not something that others can take away. Self reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believe that we should regularly examine our thoughts, actions, and emotions, asking ourselves whether we are living in accordance with our values and principles. Self reflection helps us understand where we are in life, what we need to change, and how we can become better versions of ourselves. Taking time for self reflection allows us to step back from the noise of the world and reconnect with our inner selves. It is through self reflection that we develop wisdom, which is the foundation of Stoic living. Wisdom enables us to make decisions that are in alignment with our true desires, rather than reacting to the pressures and distractions of the external world. The Stoics taught that true freedom comes from understanding the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. We cannot control the actions of others, the events that happen to us, or the circumstances in which we find ourselves. However, we can control how we respond to these things. By focusing our energy on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, we empower ourselves to shape our lives. This focus on personal responsibility leads to greater peace as we stop wasting time and energy on things outside our control. Gratitude is a powerful practice that can transform your outlook on life. The Stoics believed in cultivating an attitude of gratitude, even in the face of adversity. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective and open ourselves to greater joy. Gratitude helps us appreciate the present moment and find contentment, regardless of external circumstances. Finally, the Stoics taught that we should live according to nature. This means accepting the natural course of life, including its challenges and difficulties. Life is not meant to be easy, but by accepting it as it is, we can live with greater peace and resilience. When we live in harmony with nature, we stop fighting against the current and begin to flow with it, accepting the ups and downs that life brings. Freedom is not just about living without external restrictions. It is about living without the mental chains we place on ourselves. Whether it's seeking validation from others, fearing change, or holding on to grudges, these habits limit our potential and happiness. By adopting the Stoic mindset and following these principles, we can break free from these limitations and begin living a life of true freedom. Remember, Stoicism teaches us that freedom lies within. It is about how we choose to respond to life's challenges and setbacks. The power is in your hands. By embracing the Stoic philosophy, you can stop doing the things that hold you back and begin to live with strength, clarity, and purpose. True freedom is about facing life's difficulties with wisdom and resilience, not avoiding them. The path to freedom starts with a single step, and today is the day to take that step. Stay strong, stay stoic, and